The Chesterfield Mall is gone. Demolition started on October 15th, 2024, and fast forward 7 months, everything is gone except for the Macy's and Dillard's buildings, which I'll explain that in a minute. And in the mall's place, the $2 billion downtown Chesterfield project is on the rise. But what's actually getting built here and when? Let's talk about that. By the way, Jacob Peistrup here, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm breaking down what is being built next in downtown Chesterfield, roughly how long it's going to take, and why this project might just be the biggest transformation that St. Louis County has seen in years. So let's get right to it. Downtown Chesterfield is a 4.5 million square foot urban development replacing the Chesterfield Mall. Now here's what the plan includes. Up to 2,363 residential units, and an estimated 1,000 units will be built in phase 1. There's going to be office space, retail, restaurants, and room for a hotel. And in the middle, there's going to be a 3.3 acre park with walking trails and biking paths throughout. And while downtown Chesterfield is next door to Wild Horse Village, another massive development, it's not the same thing. Wild Horse Village is another mixed-use development, but downtown Chesterfield is going to be a more dense urban area. And this is not your typical suburban plaza. It is meant to feel like a true downtown that just so happens to be in the suburbs. This is not a suburban downtown. So this project is closer to something like downtown Clayton, for example, rather than streets of St. Charles. So how did we get to where we are now? Let's rewind a little bit. The Chesterfield Mall officially closed its doors on August 31st, 2024. Demolition then started October 15th, 2024, and is wrapping up in July 2025. Now, this was not a wrecking ball job. That's why it took 7 months to complete. It was very methodical. So they took the mall down piece by piece. The goal was to demolish the mall and preserve as much material that we could reuse and recycle as possible. So minimizing how much got sent to landfills. So here's what's going to be happening in 2025 and 2026. Grading the 96-acre site is what's happening first to prepare for future construction. And then it's about installing the roads, utilities, and street lighting. Plus, building the first major public feature, the 3.3 acre park. It's located in the middle of this project right off Clarkson Road and meant to feel like a town square. Now, the park is not just a feature, it is the epicenter of this development. When I met with Michael Steinberg and his team before filming this video, they all emphasized that building this park and then the buildings immediately around it is a top priority for phase 1. And keep in mind, they could make a lot more money if the centerpiece of this project was a lot for an office building or condos instead of a park. And I think that decision shows a real commitment to building community, not just profit. They want this to feel like a real downtown that people come to and they enjoy, not just a bunch of buildings that are all next to each other. If you drive by the site right now, you're not going to see any buildings going up, and that's because the next 12 to 18 months are just about preparation, preparing the land and installing utilities. So the only buildings there now are the Macy's building, which is going to be converted as part of this development into commercial and office space. And then there's the Dillard's building, which will stay a Dillard's building. They will be reopening as early as 2027 with a new and renovated store. Aside from those two buildings, we don't know exactly what is going to be built yet because the Steinberg Group has not sold any of those lots to other developers. They have not set a price on those lots because they still have over a year of infrastructure work to complete before those lots are ready to develop, and that could likely affect the cost of those lots. So pricing is not set. So I will be covering this project again in a future video once we know more details. Now, if you want to stay in the know on real estate news and cool things happening around St. Louis, make sure you join our email newsletter. The link for that will be in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. Now, what's next? Let's talk about the construction timeline and expectations. If everything stays on track, here is roughly the timeline you can expect. By fall 2026, the site should be fully prepared for future construction. 2027 is when we'll start seeing those first residential buildings go up. Late 2028 might be the soonest that people can start moving into downtown Chesterfield. And then by 2030, phase 1 should be complete. Now, keep in mind the commercial development, so things like offices, shopping, grocery stores, hotel, that will come later based on the demand from the future residents who will be living in downtown Chesterfield. Because all of those decisions will depend on how quickly people move in and what the demand is for shopping and dining and retail. Because right now, it's about building the community first. So the park and the residential buildings. Think of it like build it, and then they'll come, and then we'll build it some more based on what they want. Now, here's something to know if you're someone who already lives in Chesterfield. Almost all of downtown Chesterfield is in a special business district, or an SBD, except for Dillard's, that was created for this project. That means that there is a built-in city tax for properties within this special business district. Now, that tax helps pay for long-term maintenance on things like streets, landscaping, lighting, irrigation, and public parking. So if you live in another part of Chesterfield on the other side of town, you are not subsidizing all of this new infrastructure with your tax dollars. Now, let's talk about what kind of housing is coming. So we know there will be a mix from apartments to condos, townhomes, but we don't know yet what the buildings are going to look like and exactly how many of each type of housing will be built. What we do know is this: downtown Chesterfield is really meant for people who want an urban lifestyle. So if you're dreaming of a 4,000 square foot house in a nice subdivision with a big fenced in backyard, there's definitely a lot of that in Chesterfield, but that's not what this project is about. Downtown Chesterfield is for people who want to live in a walkable, social, urban environment that feels like a city. It's just located in the suburbs. Now, there is one section right now that is set aside for lower density housing, so that might become some future townhomes, but that's not the main focus of this project. The heart of this project is really urban living in the suburbs. Now, the whole project is about more than just housing. It is about bringing an urban downtown to West County, creating a project that has not existed in this region before, and it's about building a multi-generational community that appeals to people of all age groups. So whether you are a young professional early in your career, or you're retired and just looking to downsize, or you want an urban setting without living in the city, then this project is for you. And it is only the beginning. We are very early, and there is still a lot more that's going to be coming to downtown Chesterfield. I drive by this site almost every day getting to the highway because I live right down the street, and honestly, it still feels surreal. I mean, to go from a dying mall to a thriving downtown district in the making is one of the coolest things I think we've seen in West County in years. So let me ask you, based on everything I've described so far, would you live in downtown Chesterfield? Drop a comment down below with your thoughts because I want to know what you think. Let me know. Outside of that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.